Educational video, Shaken Baby Syndrome, Workforce Solutions of West Central Texas. Shaken Baby Syndrome, SBS, as defined by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, is a preventable, severe form of physical child abuse resulting from violently shaking an infant by the shoulders, arms, or legs. SBS may result from both shaking alone or from shaking with impact. The fact is that crying, including prolonged bouts of inconsolable crying, is normal developmental behavior in babies. It helps to think of crying as one of the ways babies communicate. Research also shows that most babies who cry a great deal are healthy. Recent studies show that crying begins to increase around 2 to 3 weeks of age and peaks around 6 to 8 weeks of age. It then tapers off and usually ends when the baby is 3 to 4 months old. The most common trigger for shaking a baby is inconsolable or excessive crying, a normal phase in infant development. Parents and their partners account for the majority of perpetrators. Biological fathers, stepfathers, and mothers' boyfriends are responsible for the majority of cases, followed by mothers. The crying, the late-night feedings, the constant changing of diapers, the resulting exhaustion. Add to these stresses at home, the outside stressors created by work, social and/or financial challenges, and you have a potentially combustible combination. It's a mix that in some situations leads to violent behavior by the caregiver and can result in fatal or debilitating injuries for a baby. Babies newborn to 1 year, especially babies ages 2 to 4 months, are at greatest risk of injury from shaking. Shaking them violently can trigger a whiplash effect that can lead to internal injuries, including bleeding in the brain or in the eyes. Often there are no obvious external physical signs, such as bruising or bleeding, to indicate an injury. While no one wakes up and says, "Today I plan to shake or harm a baby," excessive frustration and exhaustion can lead individuals to a breaking point. It is normal for healthy babies to cry. It may help to think of this as the period of purple crying, as defined by the National Center for Shaken Baby Syndrome, NCSBS. Purple stands for peak pattern. Crying peaks around 2 months, then decreases. Unpredictable. Crying for long periods can come and go for no reason. Resistant to soothing. The baby may keep crying for long periods. Pain-like look on face. Long bouts of crying. Crying can go on for hours. Evening crying. Babies cry more in the afternoon and evening. Tell everyone who cares for your baby about the dangers of shaking a baby and what to do if they become angry, frustrated, or upset when your baby has an episode of inconsolable crying or does other things that caregivers may find annoying, such as interrupting television shows, video games, sleep time, etc. SBS is a public health story about a tragedy that can be prevented by greater community awareness. Prevention is a community effort that includes recognizing and communicating the risk factors and common characteristics of perpetrators and victims, and also sharing ways to lessen the load on stressed-out parents and caregivers. In summary, crying is how babies talk with their parents. Crying is normal for babies. Crying comes and goes for no reason. Crying can go on for hours. Evening crying is more common. Have a plan when you are stressed out. Have a list of friends or family who can help.